Hello and welcome to another fun-filled Sunday.
Fuck off, asshole! Leave me alone! Don't you know it's fucking Sunday?
It's good to be back. Yes, it is. Hello, I'm Ben Hameen, and welcome again to Sunday Funday. What we're going to do today is kind of continue where we left off in the last episode, only get off to a lot less painful start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that's a little bit different than the last time around, a little bit more random, but one thing that I learned about some of the amazing Reaktor blocks that are available within the user community, and within my community folder in this case, and within my drums subfolder, some of the amazing drums that are here, like Henry the Hat, Keith the Kick, and Sydney the Snare. The Niji drums that I downloaded in this clank. These drums don't necessarily require, how should I say this? They don't actually need an envelope. They have envelope functionality, envelope technology, and by that I mean very tight drum-like envelopes built into the modules, built into the blocks. So you don't actually need to worry about building in the typical gamut of, sort of end of signal chain oscillator amplifier paths that you normally would have to put in there. So I accidentally deleted my clock. I'm going to go ahead and start by getting a couple of things in here that I know I'm going to need, like the Digilog clock divider. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the 4-way mixer and delete the 2-way mixer. And I know I'm going to need, where is it? My clock. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to go ahead and patch in my utility clock to the clock divider. And this is going to run my gate signals in 6 different divisions. And I'm going to go ahead and patch in the mixer. And I'm going to call this, for lack of a better term right now, out. Just in case I want other mixers to go into this. I want that to be understood that this is the final output. So now we have ourselves relatively set up. I'm going to get back into the sort of drums library and let's start. Okay, here before I patch in the drums, I actually want to focus in on a couple of blocks that I played with that are just incredible in the way that they can randomize gate signals. So I know I have a gate signal here. I know I can set it to 120 BPM and 16ths and different divisions and all that good stuff. That's great. And that's perfect if you want to create a very sequenced, very 4 on the floor sort of drum part and you want to do that. That's perfect for it. That's kind of what we did in the last episode. What I want to do today is I want to bring in some random basically some random gate creators. And what this is going to do is these 2 modules that I just dragged in. One is called the burst generator and one is called the random gates. Both of these are within the Reakt library. Fantastic. And looks like in sequencing and logic subfolders here. And I can go ahead and patch in the gate signals. I'm going to use, let's use a slower, let's use like an 1/8 for right now. And I'm going to actually load this clock divider into the burst generator. Now what this is going to do is burst generator. This is a useful tool. I love Reakt stuff, by the way, because it always has information, and I can always read this off so I know what it is. This is a useful tool that takes in one trigger and turns it into many, evenly spaced 1 millisecond triggers. The number of triggers is determined by the repeats knob. Excellent. And then space determines the amount of space between each repeat. All right. Interesting. So let's just, wow, 100 repeats. So just a burst. You can just, whatever you want in here, huh? Okay. Let's just close my eyes. What do we got? Okay, 27. Start there. Now we're going to come out. Excuse me. There's multiple outputs here. And you can go out of just bursts from just the first or the last repeat only. I want to go out. I want to capture all of them. And I'm going to use the out from here to control the gate signal of the random gates. Now, random gates, this is going to take in one gate or trigger, in this case from the burst, which is already going to be fairly random. And this block is going to take in one gate or trigger and pass it randomly to one of 8 outputs. Ooh, yes. So what we're going to be able to do here is patch in different drums to these random gates, and that'll give us a very somewhat cool, maybe, I don't know, we'll see, very random drum sequence. And it's not going to be a sequence. There's, as you can see, there's you know, I'm gonna be telling this in a very sequenced way to send gate signals at this tempo at these divisions, but then these two are just going to completely jack that up and start sending gates all over the place. And that's what we want to do in today's episode. So let's get out of Euro React, go back into my drums folder, and I'm going to start with my KTEX. And let's go ahead and drag in, for starters, let's get Keith the kick, and Sydney the snare paired up here. And let's go ahead and patch in the gate signals. So we're going to send gate 1 of the the random gates. We're going to send gate 1 to the gate A input of Keith and gate 2 into the gate A input of Sydney. We're going to do the same thing for the hat. Let's just go ahead and patch her in. And so now we have the whole KTEX library patched up, and KTEX drum blocks. These are also available in the user community, so be sure to check that out. And that's it. Again, I don't need any fancy schmancy. Like I was thinking, I spent a lot of painful time in the last episode thinking I needed, envelopes and amplifiers. These modules have that built in, and you can really do a lot of awesome shaping just with this. So I may put something else. We may think about putting some filters in between here. That might be pretty sweet. But for now, we're just going to go straight in and see what we got. Now, if we need to do a submix, we'll wind up taking this out and putting it into another mixer, possibly. And then, because now we're already out of channels, and say I want to put more drums in this too. So we're probably going to submix this using another 4-way mixer, but for right now, we're just going to patch this in and start her up and make sure we get some sound. All right. So we definitely have some sound. Got a couple of things clipping. Let's just manage. And let's get this down about 20, that way we can talk over it. Now, what I want to do is let's just start putting our drum modules down into here for now. And there, that'll work. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to start patching in some more drums, but before I do that, I want to work in some modulation. I also want to keep an eye on CPU. We already have quite a bit going on, and all we have is 3 drums going on, but it's mostly all of these weird gates and I think signals flying around that really tend to chew up CPU, so just be sure to eyeball that. And this is my own reminder to myself to do that as well. Really cool thing about these drum modules, they have a shit ton of presets. So you can really just go to town. I'm not happy with that. There we go. I was just going to say I'm not really happy with that hat sound. It's very interesting. Okay. Got some different stuff happening. Moved away from the presets. Just hitting stuff at random. I don't know what any of this stuff, I mean, saturation, you know what I mean? You get some idea about what some of this stuff does. Tone, you know, it's like an EQ, like a tone shaping thing. That's what these things are, you know? It's just like, kind of like mess with it, dial it in, you know, do different stuff. Now, what'll be really interesting is to work in some modulation, and that's what I want to try to do next. So let's go ahead and jump back into our factory library, and let's get a bento box. Let's just do a 4 mod because it's nice and easy, and it's going to give me a lot of modulation potential out of 4 different outputs. So I love this thing. So I'm going to use let's use the faster one. Let's see what trouble we can get into here. Let's keep an eye on CPU, and let's go to town. All right. We're connected up in terms of no, not what I wanted to do. That's because that's how you kill the whole signal. So trying to be fancy and patch stuff up while it's playing, sometimes you can mispatch things and kill the show. It's all about aim. So I'm going to go ahead and patch in 3 and 4 into mod A and mod B of the drum signals. And we'll just keep that easy for now. That'll give us some different modulation. Some different modulation capabilities for the drums versus the actual gate generators, because right now I've got, you know, some fancy schmancy shit going on gate generator wise. So, and this is the fun part, this is the really fucking boring part, but you just got to do it. We patch everything up, and now we're rolling. Keep an eye on CPU. We are good. So I want to actually put in a few more drums, but before we do that, I definitely want to start modulating stuff. So this is going to be a second row that I'm going to start here. And this needs to be a third row. And let's just start. Let's get it going. And let's go ahead and build in some modulation. And then let's go ahead and leave this running for just a second and marvel at this, because this is pretty sweet. Now what we want to do is add some drums. So we can start modulating some stuff here in a little bit. But we definitely want to probably add in another mixer to submix. So actually probably two. So let's go ahead and do it. Excellent. So now we are patched in and we can destroy these patches because we are now fully patched into 001 here. So we'll just kind of leave 001 on that now third row being developed, and we'll go ahead and take, you know what, actually that's what I was, never mind. I meant to actually keep things simple, and that's what that big open space was going to be for actually. So we're going to put the mixers up here and we'll just kind of group all the drums together. It's going to look a lot better. So as I can stop fumbling around with rearranging and start getting into adding more drums, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and patch in the second submixer into out and don't reckon we'll need a third one, but who knows? Now, let's just give us a little room. There we are. And let's see what we have going on in the drum folder. We have clank. You know what? We'll leave clank out of it for right now. We'll play with clank in another episode. Let's bring in some of these Niji drums. And let's see. Gates 4 through 8 are they're not in use. So let's bring in a snare. Let's bring in a tom. And let's see, this is another 3. Let's go from here. So gate 5, 6, gate 4, 5, and 6. Now let's patch up the modulation. And we're just getting all this done at once. It's kind of cool because we can still hear stuff going on in the background, and now we should start to hear some new sounds coming in as well. Yep. Yes, sir. Registering some new noises. That's cool. It's really cool. And within the mixer, I just found this out the other day as well, you can pan. So yeah, look at this. So here's 01, here's 02, you know, I can pan it as well. So we can mess with that. Keeping an eye on CPU. Looks like we're starting to push it. But what's really cool is this is a fairly random sequence as it is right now. I'm okay with only having one hat and just having a bunch of sounds for right now. What would be cool is to mess around with different gate divisions. Let's think about this for a sec. What would be cool is to think about switching between different gate divisions and being able to switch between them going into the burst generator and being able to kind of radically change the speed of it just with a switch. So let's just mess with this and do a little bit of rearranging. And I think that's what we kind of wanted to do, is kind of get all our drums more or less on one row. Yeah. Yeah, more or less. Got all sorts of weird stuff happening. So cool. Yeah, see, when you have decay and it's built in, it's ready to go, dude. It's ready to go. Now, let's do a little color matching. Yeah, I like that. Blue, 10. We'll go with it. So that'll be the number 2. Overshot. 10. I've never done this before, but see, there you go. You can do a color match and keep overshooting it. And that way, you know, you kind of know, oh, yeah, okay. So these red signals, and I might as well just color match this one too. I mean, who cares about that being green like Pro Tools, right? Who gives a shit? It's like, yeah, okay, great. These are red. There's the red one. These are blue. Here's the blue one. You know, it makes it real visually simple. So cool. So freaking cool. And I don't have any filters. I mean, this is about as random as stuff gets. I'm pushing the limits, so you can do some stuff to kind of tune the system a little bit. I need to probably put some more memory in it. It's going to be really cool when I do that, because then I can just build some monstrously random stuff. But what I want to play with now, actually, is toying around with the idea of making some changes between this and this. Basically, the decision point between clock divider and burst generators. So let's actually just... let's bring in something that I removed earlier that I've wanted to play with for a while. Really haven't thought of a use for it until now. So let's look at bringing in a switch. And no, I don't think that's going to do it. I think I would need it to be more of a pass-through. So what I want to do is I want to pass a number of gate signals in from the clock divider and have something randomly tick-tock choose between these signals going into the burst generator. That would be cool. So I don't know if we have anything like that. No. Seems like it's all, you have outputs and those are their controllers. That's what those are. So that's cool. But that's not what I was looking for. And it's probably not something that, I mean, maybe unless I'm just not thinking of it, it's probably not something that I can use right now. But I think, that's okay, because we've kind of done what we've set out to do here, boys and girls. Now I think let's just kind of turn it up and get a little bit creative and just see what we can do. Those kicks are probably the coolest sounding things. So cool. Well, boys and girls, I think we did what we came here to do. Actually, whatever I have dialed in right now is pretty sweet. I might just let this roll for a second. I've dialed it into a tempo I can actually groove to. That's weird. Weird and cool. Like, is this even anywhere near tempo 106? Like, I don't even know, but it's just like, shut up, just stop talking already. Well, we did what we came here to do, and then some, boys and girls, which is good. Until next time.